Hello and welcome back. I'm Katie T from Katie T's Home, and I'm so happy you're here. So let me ask you something. Have you ever questioned if those really expensive casserole dishes or ovenware, dishes, whatever, are really worth the cost? Well, if you have, good news for you. I'm going to give my honest review of my Emile Henry pans so you can see if it's worth it for you to make that investment. So, without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, so first, I want to establish that when it comes to brand names, I'm usually not one to follow the crowd, if you will. And it's not for everything. Like, if the brand stands for quality, then I'm hands down going to give my attention to that brand. Like, they deserve it. If they can provide the goods, especially in today's day and age where everything's made cheap, well, then I'm going to support that company. So just want to get that out of the way. The next thing, are these pans non-toxic? So Emile Henry says that they are. They say that they pass all the specifications and what have you. Okay, great. That's a baseline. In today's day and age, I feel like so many things are non-toxic, but who's the one that's deciding what's toxic or not? Because if you want my honest opinion, there's some things that we have that are considered safe, and I don't know, I'm kind of questioning it. Like, for example, silicone. Like, that is a non-toxic alternative to plastic, and I jumped on that bandwagon. I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I like the idea of silicone. So I got the silicone mats for the sheet pans, reusable baggies, the spatulas, the whole thing. And my husband was actually complaining about how things like the food tasted like silicone. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, okay, like I don't know, I don't taste it. Like, I don't know, but I recently bought some raw milk and didn't have enough time, or like, we don't go through that much in one period before it goes bad. So I decided to freeze it, and I froze it in a silicone bag. And when I was ready to take it out, I put it in my coffee, and I was disgusted with the taste of that milk. Like, the silicone definitely leached into the milk. And it was so bad that I didn't even finish my coffee. So if that tells you everything you need to know, don't use silicone. Like, I don't trust it. And the thing that's kind of concerning is the officials are saying it's considered safe. It's like, what does that mean? Consider. But okay. So, okay, get that out of the way. Like, it's a trend, and I get why it's a trend, but I don't know. I think common sense might need to be applied a little bit more when it comes to discerning if something is actually non-toxic. So, my personal opinion, I do think that Emile Henry pans are as non-toxic as you can get. So, to start with the base, it's the burgundy clay that is around in the area that Emile Henry pans are known for. And I think it's kind of cool. It's like, wow, like, this is the same clay that, the burgundy trees, grow, or vines, rather, grapevines, grow in to make wine. And the fact that it's also being used to make ovenware is pretty fascinating. But yeah, so, you don't get much more earth than that. And I'm sure they put it through different processes, and they take certain things out and add certain things in to make it as heat resistant as what the pans are. But I mean, it's certainly better than plastic. Just saying, it's not man-made. And then there's the glaze that goes over the pans. Now, this secret formula is a secret. It's family guarded, and part of the reason is because it is a scratch resistant glaze, which I find very nice. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know about that for the longest time, and I was like so careful not to scratch my pans, but now knowing that it is scratch resistant, it's like, wow, like I wasted all this time going out of my way to not try to scratch the pans. Not to say I'm gonna be hard on them now, but you know what I mean. Maybe not as delicate, but yeah, so the pans are scratch resistant, which I think is great. And yeah, so the glaze passes everything as far as non-toxicity goes. The other thing too that for me is more comforting is knowing that the European Union has more regulations when it comes to toxic chemicals and what have you, especially compared to the United States. So with that being said, all of these pans are made in France. So I feel like they kind of have the goods to back up their claim that it is non-toxic compared to a lot of other companies in the US. And not only that, but it's like the coating around, the thing that's touching the food is a glaze. And this non-stick, I don't know, glaze is significantly better, or a better option rather, than the non-stick Teflon pans. And if you need convincing, then you should really watch Dark Waters on Netflix. It's so sad that Teflon still is a thing and people will buy the pans. And, you know, they can argue so many things that they're non-toxic, but I don't know if I believe it. But yeah, watch Dark Waters. It's totally worth it. Major lawsuit and everything, and it's sad that things ended up having to be as tough as they were, but I'm not going to get into that fully right now. But yeah, so I feel safe to say that, you know, these pans are probably as non-toxic as you're going to get without really knowing the ins and outs of how they make them. I mean, they are handcrafted, and a lot of the artisans that make them have been there for years, like 10 years minimum. So I feel like if the pans were really toxic, then the workers themselves would have health problems, you know what I mean? So to me, that's a good sign. Like, that's the kind of dish that I want to make my food in. So that's the first point, I guess. They're non-toxic as far as, you know, with our limited knowledge that we all know. So the next thing that I want to talk about is if they actually, you know, stand the test of time. And so I've had these pans for 3.5 years now, and they look basically brand new. Like, they're still in good shape. And that's a lot, especially seeing on how the Dutch oven that I got, now keep in mind, the Dutch oven that I purchased, different brand, it is right now currently bestseller on Amazon for a Dutch oven. It's cast iron coated in an enamel, which is the equivalent of glaze for ceramics. And I will say the Dutch oven sees a lot more action when it comes to, like, you know, I'm scraping food, but my Dutch oven, it looks worn. And the thing is, it didn't take long for it to look worn in the bottom because it isn't as scratch resistant, and then food gets stuck, or like when the food would burn, as you can see, like it's not looking too good. My Emile Henry pans though, they look fabulous. They're great, you know, they look brand new. So I think that's pretty good. And one of the reasons why I decided to make the investment into buying these pans is because of the 10-year limited warranty. And I have a theory that if a brand can offer a warranty, especially 10 years, even if it's a limited warranty, then they have the goods to back up their brands. Like, you know, you are getting quality. And my thought process was I would rather invest in a pan knowing it's going to last the rest of my life compared to one that I'm going to have to keep on buying, like pretty soon my Dutch oven, because it's not as quality. Like, it's not scratch resistant. It's not holding up to the kitchen needs that I want that particular kitchen item to have. So it's definitely good quality, and it's pretty rugged too. Like, it's not going to chip easily, and the company does a whole bunch of tests on it to make sure that it is a quality pan and it's not just going to chip. And that should make you feel good knowing that they test every single one of the pans that they sell. Like, if that's not narrowed, focused on each individual product, then I don't know what is. Like, that's a good brand, you know? And real quick, I want to just mention that they care so much about each individual product that they sell that they even have the artisan who crafted it stamp their initials in the bottom. And that's for the sake of accountability. And thankfully, they don't really make a whole lot of mess ups. So it's not like any of them have to be held accountable. But that just shows that they really care. Like, they want to sell a really good product. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool knowing, like, hey, like, this Z2450, whatever the number is, was crafted by someone. If I have another one of those, then I'll know that she made the same dish. So I don't know, that's just a fun fact, but I think it really shows the reflection of quality in their ovenware. Okay, so now moving on. The types of pans that I have 3 different sized casserole dishes. I have 2 loaf pans, and then I also have like an oval pan. And personally, I use the casserole dishes the most. The oval one I use the least, but I still use it from time to time. Like, I used it the other night when I was cooking chicken legs. It was the perfect size for just me and my husband. So if you're thinking about buying it, I highly recommend. Oh, and I do have the pie pan too. Forgot that one. Again, that one I don't use a whole lot, considering that I forgot about it, but yeah. So I highly recommend, if you're going to make the purchase, go for one of the casserole dishes. I mean, it's so, like, you can use it for so many different recipes. It's, you know, it lends itself to doing that. So if you're going to make that decision, like I said, go for that one. They are dishwasher safe. I don't put them in the dishwasher because they are in the bigger side, and I'd rather use that room for, you know, like all the, like, the dishes and stuff, but they are dishwasher safe, and they have a thermal shock property, so they are freezer to oven safe as well, which I think is super cool. Like, you can't really, you know, say that for a lot of other ceramic ware out there. At least I don't think so. So yeah, that's super cool. And the other thing too is it's ceramic, so it heats the food evenly compared to other materials used in a casserole or ovenware or bakeware dish. The other thing too, because it's ceramic, is that it holds on to heat as well. So I feel confident knowing I can take it out of the oven, the different, you know, foods or whatever, and then it's gonna stay warm. And that makes it nice, especially for hosting things, because there is that timing aspect of making a meal for people, and you don't want the food to be piping hot, but you still want it to be hot. So I can take the food out of the oven ahead of time and know that it's still going to stay warm when I'm ready to serve everything all together. So that's definitely a nice feature to have. So I guess the last thing that I want to mention is Emile Henry has been around since 1850, and this company cares. Like, the molds that they use for each of their dishes gets worn out after 100 uses, and instead of just throwing it away, they end up giving it to a government agency, and they use those molds to build different structures like bridges. And it's that kind of quality care, going the extra mile, that you can tell is in these dishes. So I guess, is it worth the cost? I mean, I think it is. I am also in the kitchen all the time, and I take pride in the dishes that I cook. I guess if cooking's not really your thing, then yeah, the investment probably is not worth it. But if you really enjoy cooking and want to step up your game, I definitely think that the investment will be worth every cent. So there you have it. Hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you here next week, and I hope you enjoy your weekends or rest of your week, either way. All right, bye.